Chapter 1. The dim light of late afternoon filtered softly through the tall pine trees surrounding the small lake, casting long, peaceful shadows across the water. Barnaby Jones adjusted the brim of his hat, leaning back against the wooden chair on the porch of the lakeside cabin. For the first time in months, the quiet hum of the forest was the only sound accompanying his thoughts. His fishing gear rested neatly against the railing, promising an uncomplicated evening. That quiet shattered the moment a dusty sedan pulled up the gravel driveway. Dwight Kincaid stepped out of the vehicle, his movements hurried and tense. He didn't look like a man who had been married only a few hours earlier in a bright, joyous ceremony. His hands trembled slightly as he walked up the porch steps, stopping just shy of the threshold. Barnaby looked up, his calm blue eyes measuring the young publisher's distress. He set his cup down on the wooden table. "What is wrong, Dwight?" Barnaby asked quietly, his voice steady and grounded. "She's gone, Barnaby," Dwight said, his voice cracking slightly under the weight of his words. "My wife. She drove off right after the wedding." Barnaby observed him for a moment before speaking. "Are you telling me that your wife drove off without you?" "I know how it sounds," Dwight replied, pacing the width of the small porch. "They are all giving me the horse laugh back in town, but it is no joke. She went in to get out of her gown, and instead, she took off in my car. It has been 4 hours." Barnaby tilted his head slightly. "Well, in my day, they had an expression. I think it was called wedding night jitters." "I thought of that, too," Dwight said, shaking his head firmly. "But Vicky is not an old-fashioned girl in that sense." "You do not have to be old-fashioned to have second thoughts about marriage these days," Barnaby noted gently. "But that does not explain why she was so upset about having a picture in the paper," Dwight urged, leaning closer to the veteran investigator. "You mean that wedding picture you printed?" "She never explained why," Dwight said, his chest heaving with anxious breaths. "But she just made me promise that it would not be in the paper. My staff did not listen, and then ran it anyway." "When did she see the picture?" "Just before she took off," Dwight said. "Barnaby, she was scared. I could see it in her face. I checked everywhere, her apartment, friends. She has disappeared completely. Barnaby, you know I would not bother you on your vacation unless it was so important." Barnaby stood up slowly, picking up his jacket from the back of the chair. "Well, I will tell you what we will do. We will go over to your office, and if she has not tried to contact you by now, I will check into it for you." "Thank you," Dwight said, letting out a long, shuddering breath. Chapter 2. Miles away, at an isolated gas station along the dusty expanse of Route 39-5, a black luxury automobile pulled in next to the single pump. The air smelled strongly of gasoline and hot asphalt. Inside the glass phone booth, Victoria Norris, now Victoria Kincaid, clutched the receiver with white knuckles. Her eyes swept the open road nervously as she fed coins into the slot. Outside, the station attendant tapped on the glass of the booth. "Hold on to your horses, lady. I am coming." He gestured toward the vehicle. "Fill it up with premium?" "Does that phone work?" Victoria asked, her voice tight. "Yeah, if you got a dime," the attendant called back with a light chuckle. "Don't worry about being late, though. Just keep the groom waiting a little. He will stay on his toes more afterwards." Inside the office of the Holbein Journal, the telephone rang sharply. Dwight snatched the receiver off the hook before the second ring could finish. "Holbein Journal," Dwight said rapidly into the receiver. "Just a moment, operator." A woman's voice replied on the other end. "Mr. Kincaid?" "Victoria," Dwight exclaimed, his eyes lighting up as he looked at Barnaby, who stood nearby.
"Collect."
"Well, what are you waiting for?" "Accept the charges."
"You see?
I told you she got over the jitters." "Yes, operator. We will accept." "Oh, Vicky." "Dwight." Victoria's voice came through the static, sounding fragile and distant. "Oh, Dwight. We have been worried sick. Are you okay? Where are you?" "I am in a phone booth in a gas station," she whispered into the receiver. "Dwight, I am sorry, but maybe I can explain." "Go on," Dwight urged, pressing the phone close to his ear. "Go on, Vicky." Suddenly, a tall man dressed in tailored Western wear stepped beside the booth. His heavy hand rested firmly against the folding glass door, preventing it from opening. Beside him stood another broad-shouldered man with a cold, unblinking expression. "Operator," Victoria pleaded, her voice rising in panic. "Operator, I've been cut off." The man in the Western attire smiled thinly, resting his weight against the booth. "Come on now, Vicky." "I will scream," she cried out. "Oh," the man replied casually. "And who is going to come running to help you? That old man? You don't really want to see him get hurt now, do you?" "Look, the people I was talking to, they're going to be worried about me," Victoria said, backing into the corner of the booth. "Well, what about Mr. Fannin?" the man asked. "Don't you think he is worried about you? You are worried sick." "Stuart worried about me?" she asked, her voice dropping. "Listen now," the man said. "He has had us looking all over for you since you took off. Toby, call him up and let him know we found her. Then get a car out of here. Come on." Chapter 3. Back in Holbein, Barnaby did not waste a second. He picked up the desk phone and dialed the local operator. "Her name is Lily Mendicant, Miss Lily," Barnaby said smoothly into the mouthpiece. "Miss Lily," the operator answered. "Yes. We had a collect call here a little while ago, and we were cut off. I wonder if you could give me that number." "Well, now let me look it up," Miss Lily replied cheerfully over the line. "If it was a collect call, you should. Let us see. Yes, I have it right here. 555-7781. 555-7781.
Thank you, Barnaby said.
"You are welcome." Where would that call have come from?" Barnaby asked, writing the numbers down on a notepad. "Well, then, that would be Hayden's gas station in Packerville." "I see. Hayden's gas station in Packerville." Barnaby hung up the phone and looked over at Dwight. "We have a location." In a secluded estate hidden within the rolling hills off Route 24, Stuart Fannin stood near the wide window of the living room, a crystal glass in his hand. Edward Cross, his primary associate, walked in, followed by the man in Western attire, Elliot Rail. "Mr. Fannin?" "Mr. Cross." Rail spoke as he entered. "Where is she?" "In the upstairs bedroom," Cross replied calmly. "She cannot get out." "This way, sir."
"Just go around back."
Stuart Fannin walked slowly up the carpeted stairs and unlocked the heavy wooden door to the upper room. Victoria sat by the window, her coat still on, her face set in a hard, resolute mask. "And away she went, like a thief in the night," Fannin said, entering the room with a measured stride. "How else was I going to get away from you?" Victoria asked, not turning her head to look at him. "Well, you could have come to me, said thanks, but no thanks, and left without any hard feelings," Fannin said lightly. "I wanted to," Victoria said, turning her sharp gaze upon him. "I wanted to say a lot of things, but I could not. In any way, you never would have let me go that easily." "Conceit does not become you, my dear," Fannin said with a dismissive wave of his hand, "even though you are one of the most sensational women I have ever seen in my life. I do let go of things sometimes, especially when I am being clawed and bitten." "By me?" Victoria laughed bitterly. "Oh, I think you have me confused with one of your other women. I have never been any good at drawing blood." "I didn't think I ever gave you reason to be good at anything like that," Fannin said, taking a sip from his glass. "You are good at enjoying life," Victoria said, standing up to face him directly. "Jetting about the world, tasting every luxury, meeting all the beautiful people, becoming one of them, one of the most beautiful of them all." "Come on, Stu," she continued, her voice filled with conviction. "Save that for some other young starry-eyed fool. I have already had your trip to Never Never Land." "Come off it," Fannin sneered softly. "You loved it, every minute of it." "Yes, I did," Victoria admitted candidly. "Until I discovered I was just a sham, a fake, somebody you used to distract a gullible ambassador or finance minister while you were conning them into signing over half their country's treasury to you." "Business is business," Fannin said smoothly. "And dog eats dog," Victoria retorted. "Only with you, the dogs are eating up all the wheat that is supposed to feed the starving natives. And what about those cozy little oil deals and all the rest that you made me a part of?" Fannin chuckled dryly. My. First conceit, and now conscience. But not so much conscience that you didn't figure a way to do a little shaking down on your own, eh? What's shaking down? How does this Dwight Kincaid, this Hicktown newspaper publisher, figure into all of this anyway? Fannin demanded, his tone hardening. Are you by any chance planning to help this husband of yours become famous? Dwight has nothing to do with us. Victoria insisted fiercely. Now you leave him out of it. Stuart Fannin, exposed as a crook, Fannin said, mocking a headline gesture in the air. Is that how you picture the headlines to read? Headlines? What are you talking about? All right. The book, Fannin snapped. What book? You're cute, aren't you? Fannin said, stepping closer to her. My financial ledger. Last year's figures. The real ones. Where is it? Stuart, I didn't take any book, Victoria declared firmly. You had the key, Fannin spat. You had access. And my trust. It disappeared the same night you did. What, is that supposed to be a coincidence? I am waiting. Chapter 4. Barnaby Jones arrived at Hayden's gas station in Packerville shortly after noon. A local car rental agent was inspecting a vehicle in the adjacent lot. Barnaby approached the man, leaning comfortably against the fender. Interested in a station wagon, the rental agent asked, looking up. I can let you have this little fellow really cheap. Mr.
Jones.
Barnaby Jones, the investigator replied politely. I am a private investigator. Private investigator? The agent paused, his expression shifting to concern. Have there been complaints? Look, whatever it is, we can settle it. No, nothing like that, Barnaby assured him with a warm smile. I am trying to track down a driver of this car. I am interested in the man who rented this wagon. His name is Rail? Yes, Mr. Rail, yes. The agent nodded rapidly. Mr. Rail brought this wagon back. Oh, it has been a couple of hours now. Insufficient for his needs, he transferred the rental to another car. Another car? Oh, a big luxury job. He wanted one with a built-in bar. I couldn't help him there. Did he leave an address? Barnaby asked. Yes, sir, yes, he did, the agent replied. He was staying at the Holbein Hotel, but along with his fancy car, he wanted to get himself a fancy new address. He is out at the Grover Place. The Grover Place, Barnaby repeated. Where would I find that? Well, now that is Route 24, the agent explained, pointing down the road. That would be the third right, then all the way to the end. It is the last driveway on the left. You cannot miss it. Much obliged, Barnaby said, turning to walk toward his car. Mr. Jones, the agent called out after him. Long as you are in town, maybe you would like to rent this nifty little sports job here. You know, private investigator. You gotta think of your image. Barnaby turned back with a subtle grin. You know something? I gave up images a long time ago, along with my trench coat. Moments later, Barnaby reached the gates of the Grover Place. The sprawling estate was quiet. Standing near the wide front porch was Elliot Rail, still dressed in his distinctive Western attire. What can I do for you? Rail asked as Barnaby approached. I am looking for Elliot Rail, Barnaby stated calmly. That arrives, Rail said, crossing his arms. What for? You wouldn't be Mr. Rail, would you? Barnaby asked casually. I hear that he likes to wear fancy Western clothes.